molecule is in general a group of two or more atoms that is chemically bonded together. Atoms combine chemically by external forces such as heat and light. This leads to the formation of molecules. During the formation of a molecule, atoms lose their valence electrons or gain electrons from other atoms. For instance, if two pieces of wax are to be joined, they are heated. After heating, the two pieces are pressed together to form a single structure. Here, heat is the chemical factor which is responsible for joining the molecules of wax pieces.
Classification of molecules. Molecules can be broadly classified into two types. One is homoatomic, another one is heteroatomic. Name itself is giving all the information. Homo means the same, hetero means different. So, homoatomic molecules are made up of only one type of atoms, and heteroatomic molecules are made up of more than one type of atoms. We can call homoatomic molecules as elements and heteroatomic molecules as compounds. Example for homoatomic molecules: hydrogen, ozone, that is O3, P4 is one of the allotropic forms of phosphorus, S8 is also one of the allotropic forms of sulfur. Coming to the heteroatomic molecules: hydrogen chloride, that is HCl, ammonia, NH3, water, H2O. Atomicity is the number of atoms in a molecule of an element. Observe this term very carefully. We will be using atomicity only for those molecules which are elemental in nature, meaning they will be having only one type of atoms in it. Molecules can be further classified based on the number of atoms present in them. If we have only one atom, then it is called as monoatomic, two atoms diatomic, three atoms triatomic, four atoms tetraatomic, eight atoms octaatomic. Examples under these category: for monoatomic, helium, neon, argon, or you can consider any other noble gases. Diatomic, hydrogen, chlorine, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. For triatomic, ozone is the best example. Tetraatomic, P4, this is one of the allotropic forms of phosphorus. Octaatomic, S8, this is also one of the allotropic forms of sulfur. Relative molecular mass or molecular weight. Abbreviation for this is RMM. Relative molecular mass is the number of times one molecule of a substance is heavier than 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon-12. Relative molecular mass can be calculated just by summing up the relative atomic mass of constituent atoms. Example: we know that relative atomic mass of hydrogen is 1 AMU approximately, sulfur is 32 AMU, oxygen is 16 AMU. If we consider the molecule sulfuric acid, then in that we have two hydrogen atoms, one sulfur atom and four oxygen atoms. If we sum up the relative atomic masses of constituent atoms, then there are two hydrogen atoms, so 2 into 1, that will give us 2 AMU. There is one sulfur atom, 1 into 32, 32 AMU. There are four oxygen atoms, 4 into 16, 64 AMU. Relative molecular mass of sulfuric acid will be 2 plus 32 plus 64, that will be 98 AMU. We can see here that there are 12 apples in this container. While purchasing these apples in the market, instead of using the number 12, we may prefer to use the term 1 dozen for convenience sake. In the same manner, let us consider 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 of something in another container. This number is nothing but 1 mole. Keep in your memory, 1 mole is nothing but a number, and that is equal to 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23. This number is also called as Avogadro's number or Avogadro's constant, and abbreviation for this is N subscript A. We know now that mole is a number and 1 mole is equal to 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23. This unit mole can be used to express the quantities in microscopic world as well as in macroscopic world. Example under microscopic world: number of moles of protons, neutrons, electrons, atoms, molecules, etc. In the same manner, macroscopic world quantities can be expressed as few moles of people, car, homes, books, toys, etc. Though the unit can be applied to both the world, practically it makes sense to use mole only for microscopic world. That is because such a large number 10 to the power of 23 doesn't appear in macroscopic world. Even if we consider the population, that is hardly 10 to the power of 9. Mass of one atom of hydrogen is approximately 1 AMU. One atom of carbon is 12 AMU, one atom of oxygen is 16 AMU, one atom of nitrogen is 14 AMU, one atom of sulfur is 32 AMU. For molecules, let us do it with hydrogen. Mass of one molecule of hydrogen is, there are two hydrogen atoms, so 1 plus 1, 2 AMU. In the same manner, mass of one molecule of water is 1 plus 1 plus 16, 18 AMU. Mass of one molecule of ammonia is 17 AMU. One molecule of carbon dioxide is 44 AMU. One molecule of sulfuric acid is 98 AMU. If we have to tell mass of one mole of atoms or mass of one mole of molecules, then same number gets expressed in grams. Example: mass of 1 mole of hydrogen atoms is 1 gram. Observe, numerically these two are same, just there is a unit difference. In the same manner, mass of 1 mole of carbon is 12 gram, 1 mole of oxygen is 16 gram, 1 mole of nitrogen atoms is 14 gram, 1 mole of sulfur atom is 32 gram. Same here, mass of 1 mole of hydrogen molecules is 2 gram, 1 mole of water molecules is 18 gram, 1 mole of ammonia molecules is 17 gram, 1 mole of carbon dioxide molecules is 44 gram, 1 mole of sulfuric acid molecules is 98 gram. Data may be given in the form of mass or in the form of number. If it is given in the form of mass, then mole is the ratio of given mass of the substance divided by molar mass of the substance. If the given data is in the form of number, then mole is the ratio of given number divided by Avogadro's number. Example: find out the number of moles of carbon in 54 gram of carbon. Given data is in the form of mass. So, equation is mole equal to given mass divided by molar mass. Given mass is 54 gram and molar mass of carbon is 12 gram. With this ratio, we get the answer as 4.5 mole. On the other side, find out the number of moles of water in 12.046 into 10 to the power of 24 molecules of water. Observe, given data is in the form of number. So the equation is mole equal to given number divided by Avogadro's number. Given number is 12.046 into 10 to the power of 24. Avogadro's number is 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23. Upon simplification, we get the answer as 20 mole. Molar volume. From Avogadro's law, we know that at STP, 22.4 liters of any gas contains 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 molecules of gas. And from mole concept, we understood that 1 mole equal to 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23. By combining these two concepts, we can now state at STP, 1 mole of any gas occupy 22.4 liters volume. This is nothing but molar volume. In a general way, we can define molar volume as volume occupied by 1 mole of gas at some temperature and pressure. If we consider STP, then 1 mole of helium gas at STP occupy 22.4 liter volume, and we know that 1 mole of helium gas weigh 4 gram. So, molar volume of helium gas weigh 4 gram. In the same manner, 1 mole of hydrogen gas, which is occupying 22.4 liters at STP, weigh 2 gram. 22.4 liters of oxygen gas at STP weigh 32 gram. 22.4 liters of nitrogen gas at STP weigh 28 gram.
So this is the percentage composition. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to understand it very well by the definition or what the term of percentage composition is. So now the percentage composition means percentage composition is the term used to describe the percentage by mass of each element present in a compound. It is typically found using the molar mass value for both the elements in the compound and the compound itself. So basically what I am trying to say it as, suppose if I am talking about H2O molecules, so I know that in H2O molecules I could find 2 moles of hydrogen, but the total volume or the total mass of the H2 in the overall H2 will be what? Of overall H2 will be what? So that is nothing but the percentage composition. So I could easily calculate that what is the percentage of hydrogen in the water molecule, and as well as I could calculate what is the percentage of oxygen present in the water molecule. So this is nothing but the percentage. It is just like a basic thing that how much you score marks out of 100 or how much you score marks out of 80. So this is a very simple logical term that we can elaborate for percentage composition for a particular compound or for a particular molecule. So based on this thing, I have mentioned a formula in this format as. So therefore it can be represented in this format, that is the percentage of an element. And in this case, let me tell you, the element can be hydrogen or can be other also, but we have to calculate that how much amount of that particular element or that particular atom is being present in the compound. And then what we could do is we could do it in a very easily a numerical, or we could easily solve it to calculate that what would be the percentage of that element. So the thing is, the mass of that element in 1 mole of a compound is divided by the molar mass of the compound into 100. So this is how we could calculate the percentage of a particular element which is present in a compound, and we will multiply it because we have to calculate the percentage of that element. So this is nothing known as the percentage composition. So let me give you an example. Again, I will say that suppose for H2O molecule, you have to calculate the percentage composition of hydrogen. So as you know that there are 2 hydrogen that are present in the overall water molecule. When I am talking about 1 mole of water molecule, then the molar mass of hydrogen is 1, but there are 2 hydrogen atoms. So therefore 2 divided by the molar mass of the whole molecule, that is 18. So 2 divided by 18 into 100. So you'll get a value of something around 11.11. So this is the percentage of hydrogen that it contains, and the rest of the part, it would be for oxygen. It is very much simple. So I hope you have got an idea that what is percentage composition. So thank you friends for watching this video. I hope you have got an idea about it, and share this video with your friends, and yes, don't forget to subscribe to eKeeda channel. Thank you so much.
Avogadro's law. Just like Gay-Lussac's law, this is applicable only for gaseous reactions where all reactants and products are in gaseous forms. Statement of the law. Under similar conditions of temperature and pressure, equal volume of all gases contain same number of molecules. If we consider 1 liter of helium gas, hydrogen gas, ammonia gas, carbon dioxide gas, or any gas maintained at same temperature and pressure, these gases were observed to be consisting of equal number of molecules. In one go, this law doesn't seem to be very convincing because of the question, How can equal number of molecules having different size can be accommodated in equal volume of space? Reason behind this is the large gap between the gaseous molecules in gas. In comparison to the size of gaseous molecules, gap between them is so huge that molecular size doesn't affect much while coating the gaseous volume. Another way of looking into this law, let us consider 100 molecules of chlorine gas, 100 molecules of hydrogen gas, 100 molecules of ammonia gas, 100 molecules of carbon dioxide gas, or 100 molecules of any gas maintained at same temperature and pressure. It was observed all these gases occupy equal volume. Avogadro's law at STP. STP means standard temperature and pressure, and the values are 273 Kelvin and 1 atmosphere pressure. At STP, if we consider 22.4 liters of any gas, it was observed to contain 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 molecules in it. This is a very big number. If we try to write every digit in this number, then we will have 20 zeros after 3. We need to understand few terms before learning applications of Avogadro's law. First one, an atom is the smallest particle that can take part in a chemical reaction. However, it may or may not exist independently. If we take carbon dioxide gas, carbon and oxygen atoms can take part in a chemical reaction but are not capable of existing independently. But when it comes to noble gases like helium or argon, they are capable of existing independently in the atomic state. Second point, a molecule is the smallest particle of an element or compound that can exist independently. It never breaks up except for taking part in a chemical reaction. Indeed, another word which we can use for a molecule is independent existence. Let us understand these terms more clearly with an example. One molecule of nitrogen reacting with 3 molecules of hydrogen giving 2 molecules of ammonia. In this reaction, nitrogen is a molecule and an element consisting of nitrogen atoms. It is an element because we have only one type of atoms. It is a molecule because we are having more than one atoms in it. Same case with the hydrogen. It is a molecule as well as an element consisting of hydrogen atoms. Ammonia is a molecule and a compound consisting of nitrogen and hydrogen atoms. It is a compound because we have more than one type of atoms in it. Nitrogen and hydrogen do not exist independently, but NH3 molecule can exist independently. Nitrogen and hydrogen atoms, which can come out when nitrogen and hydrogen breaks, can take part in a chemical reaction. If we simply take nitrogen gas, it will not break. Simply take hydrogen gas, it won't break. But when you mix nitrogen and hydrogen, these molecules will break to give nitrogen atoms and hydrogen atoms, which further reacts to give ammonia molecule. First application, Avogadro's law explains Gay-Lussac's law. Gay-Lussac's law statement is ratio between the volumes of gaseous reactants and gaseous products can be expressed in simple whole numbers. Avogadro's law statement is under similar conditions of temperature and pressure, equal volumes of all gases contain same number of molecules. If we consider the reaction nitrogen plus hydrogen giving rise to ammonia, according to Gay-Lussac's law, 1 volume of nitrogen reacting with 3 volumes of hydrogen giving 2 volumes of ammonia. So reactant and product volume ratio is 1:3:2. Let us see the same reaction by using Avogadro's law. According to Avogadro's law, equal volume of all gases contain same number of molecules. Let us imagine one volume of nitrogen gas consists of n molecules in it. So, 3 volumes of hydrogen is supposed to contain 3n molecules of hydrogen in it. In the same manner, 2 volumes of ammonia should be consisting of 2n molecules of ammonia in it. If I take the ratio of number of nitrogen molecules, number of hydrogen molecules and number of ammonia molecules, that will be n is to 3n is to 2n. If I simplify this, I will get the same ratio 1 is to 3 is to 2 as explained by Gay-Lussac's law. In this manner, two laws are complementing each other. Second application, Avogadro's law predicts atomicity of gases. Let us consider the reaction nitrogen plus oxygen giving nitric oxide. Balanced equation is 1 molecule of nitrogen reacting with 1 molecule of oxygen giving 2 molecules of nitric oxide. If we apply the Gay-Lussac's law, then 1 volume of nitrogen reacts with 1 volume of oxygen giving 2 volumes of nitric oxide. Ratio between the volumes of gaseous reactants and gaseous products is 1 is to 1 is to 2. Same equation when it is stated by using Avogadro's law. If I imagine like 1 volume of nitrogen is nothing but n molecules of nitrogen, then n molecules of nitrogen reacting with n molecules of oxygen giving 2n molecules of nitric oxide. Ratio between the number of reacting molecules and product molecules is n is to 2n. If I simplify this, I will get 1 is to 1 is to 2. Instead of taking n molecules, let us take the simplified version. According to Avogadro's law, 1 molecule of nitrogen reacting with 1 molecule of oxygen giving 2 molecules of nitric oxide. Let us rewrite the reaction to get 1 molecule of nitric oxide. Now the reaction takes the form half a molecule of nitrogen reacting with half a molecule of oxygen giving 1 molecule of nitric oxide. We know that in 1 molecule of nitric oxide, we have 1 nitrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom. So, half a molecule of nitrogen must be consisting of 1 nitrogen atom, meaning 1 molecule of nitrogen must be consisting of 2 nitrogen atoms. In the same manner, half a molecule of oxygen must be consisting of 1 oxygen atoms. So, 1 molecule of oxygen must be consisting of 2 oxygen atoms in it. To put together, since atoms are indivisible, half molecule of nitrogen and oxygen must be equal to 1 atom of nitrogen and oxygen respectively. So, nitrogen molecule contains 2 nitrogen atoms and oxygen molecule contains 2 oxygen atoms. So, we have proved the atomicity of nitrogen and oxygen molecules. Third application of Avogadro's law. It can be used to find out molecular formula of a gaseous compound. Molecular formula is a chemical formula which represents the actual number of each atom present in a molecule. Let us consider the reaction ammonia giving nitrogen and hydrogen. Balanced equation is 2 molecules of ammonia giving 1 molecule of nitrogen and 3 molecules of hydrogen. According to Gay-Lussac's law, 2 volumes of ammonia splits to give 1 volume of nitrogen and 3 volumes of hydrogen. Ratio between the reactant and product volumes is 2 is to 1 is to 3. According to Avogadro's law, 2n molecules of ammonia splits to give n molecules of nitrogen and 3n molecules of hydrogen. Simplified version of the ratio between the reactant number of molecules and product number of molecules is the same, that is 2 is to 1 is to 3. For this simplified ratio, if we rewrite the Avogadro's law, it looks 2 molecules of ammonia splits to give 1 molecule of nitrogen and 3 molecules of hydrogen. Considering the atomicity of nitrogen and hydrogen elements, if we rewrite this statement, then 2 molecules of ammonia splits to give 1 molecule of nitrogen, that is 2 nitrogen atoms, and 3 molecules of hydrogen, that is 6 hydrogen atoms. Let us simplify these numbers. 1 molecule of ammonia splits to give 1 nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atoms. This indirectly conveys the message 1 molecule of ammonia consists of one nitrogen atom and three hydrogen atoms in it. This proves the molecular formula of ammonia.
There are three states of matter: solids, liquids, and gases. It's easy to study the properties of solids and liquids, but when it comes to gases, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to study the properties of gases. One important property is density. It's not very easy to calculate or measure the density of a gas. So that is why its density is calculated by comparing it with some other gas. So to calculate the density, we compare it with some other gas, and hence we find the relative vapor density of a gas. So when the density is compared to some other gas, we calculate the relative vapor density for any gas, that is abbreviated as REL for relative and VD for vapor density. Now let's see how we calculate the relative vapor density for any gas. This is done by taking the mass of volume V of a particular gas and dividing it by mass of volume V of hydrogen gas. So the mass of any particular gas is compared to the lightest gas, which is hydrogen. So the same volumes of the two gases are taken, and the mass of volume V of the gas, the particular gas, is divided by mass of volume V of hydrogen gas. Let's see what we get. So we get that mass of one molecule of a gas divided by mass of one molecule of hydrogen gas, because Avogadro's law states that equal volumes of all gases under same conditions of temperature and pressure contain equal number of molecules. So when we are talking of the same volume, volume V, they contain the same number of molecules. So let's take one molecule for both. So we get mass of one molecule of the gas divided by mass of one molecule of hydrogen gas. We know hydrogen molecule is made of two atoms, that is H2. So we get the relative vapor density equal to mass of one molecule of the gas divided by mass of two atoms of hydrogen. Each molecule of hydrogen is made of two atoms, so we divide it by mass of two atoms of hydrogen. Now we can also write this as mass of one molecule of the particular gas divided by 2 times the mass of one atom of hydrogen. So when we take this 2 on the other side, we get 2 into relative vapor density equal to mass of one molecule of the gas divided by mass of one atom of hydrogen. So you see that the relative vapor density is the mass of one molecule of the particular gas that we are talking of divided by mass of one atom of hydrogen. If you remember, the mass of one atom of hydrogen is equal to 1/12 times the mass of one atom of carbon-12. This is because the mass of one atom of carbon-12 is 12. When we take 1/12 its mass, we get 1/12 of 12, which is 1. And we know that the mass of one atom of hydrogen is also 1. If you are calculating in atomic mass unit, this is the units for both, that is atomic mass unit. So the mass of one atom of hydrogen is equal to 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon-12. So for the same equation, that is mass of one molecule of the gas divided by mass of one atom of hydrogen, we can replace the denominator by 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon-12, because all the time we take carbon-12 as the reference. So we substitute the mass of one atom of hydrogen by 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon-12. Are you reminded of anything by this? What is the relative molecular mass? The relative molecular mass of any substance is the mass of one molecule divided by 1/12 the mass of one atom of carbon-12. This is what we got here. We got 2 times the relative vapor density equal to mass of one molecule of the particular gas divided by 1/12 the mass of one carbon-12 atom. So when we look at this, we get the relative molecular mass of the gas. So twice the relative vapor density is equal to the relative molecular mass of the gas. So this is an important relation, that is 2 times the relative vapor density is equal to the relative molecular mass of any gas. And so from this we get the relative vapor density of any gas is equal to the relative molecular mass of the gas divided by 2. So to calculate the vapor density of the gas becomes easier. We know we can simply calculate the relative molecular mass of any gas. When we divide it by 2, we get the relative vapor density of any gas.